Welcome back to Truth Moment. I'm your host, Tierra Pritchett. I'm laughing at your face. When something is submerged in the fire, then its shape can shift. Yeah, it can shift. Welcome back to Truth Moment. I'm your host, Tierra Pritchett. Apologies for me sounding all nasally. I'm just now getting over a cold that I had this week. But I wanted to do something different. And I know I say going to do something different with every episode, but trust me, this one is really different. So I'm with a friend of mine that I will be introducing here soon. But I wasn't feeling well and my voice was going out, so I asked him to make me some tea. And then it hit me, why not do a tea time with Tierra and my guest? You thought I was about to introduce and drop his name just then, but nope, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna make you guys wait a little while. So in a conversation with my husband, he said, why not in Truth Moment, you kind of have episodes where people aren't having a gut-wrenching situation, that they had to get through or get over in order to reveal their truth. It could just be someone talking about what's real to them, walking in their truth. So my next guest in this episode, we're going to be talking about an array of topics, actually. And so it's actually going to be called Tea Time on Truth Moment with Judah Swilley. Hey, Judah.
All right, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us. But what I really wanted to have you on for is in this episode, I'm going to talk about how a lot of times a lot of times people are trying to find their purpose or their truth. Mm-hmm. And so they can think that a family member or a parent's truth is theirs and walk in it, or they can try so hard to get away from that family lineage and causing them to actually not operate in purpose.
Right.
So you come from a long line of ministers, right? Yep. 5.
Yes, I'm the fifth generation.
Fifth generation, guys. I was teasing Judah about it because he's so serious about ministry that his cat wears a white collar. That's Zeus. Zeus can't be with us right now. He's probably somewhere praying. But, Judah, he has a long line. He is on a hit television show. He is a reality TV star. He is a music artist, but he's a minister.
Yes.
You're a minister. So tell me about that. 5 generations. Why did the family need another minister?
Well, I don't know. I mean, some of my family members would say yes. Some of them would say no. But literally, not just my dad, his dad, but it's everyone in my life. I mean, my cousins, my uncles. And so our entire family, if you have a family reunion with my family, I mean, it gets a little crazy because you get together and you got everyone from different churches, and we're all sort of on the same page. Some of us are a little more liberal, a little more conservative, but ultimately we come together for one reason, and that's to lead people to Christ. And so we have our own perspectives of that. But for me, growing up, it was always a part of my DNA. I think there's some things that you do in life, and then there's some things that you are in life. And for me, ministry is part of what I do, but it's fully who I am. So it transcends careers, it transcends jobs, it leaks into everything that I do. Because if you're truly a minister, even when you're at the grocery store, you're ministering. If you're writing music, you're ministering. If you're on television, you're ministering. If you're at a ball game, you're ministering. So everywhere I go is church. It's not just underneath a steeple. And so as I always say, it's not about the steeple, it's about the people, and my heart is for the people. And so therefore, I consider myself a minister. Okay,
and so when you said you have to make sure you're ministering at all these places, what does ministering to Judah look like?
It's simply loving God and loving your neighbor as you love yourself. If I had to sum my ministry into one sentence, it would be that. Jesus said that is the greatest commandment. And it's really 3 commandments. And, a lot of times we say it's 2, love God, love your neighbor. But if I don't love myself, how can I love my neighbor? When I begin to love myself, then I love the people around me. And so everywhere I go, ministry is just loving somebody. It's not running up to somebody going, shut up out of Honda, praying on them and slaying them in the spirit and get them saved. It's just saying, hey, you look good today. Good to see you today. How are you? How's your mom doing? What can I do to help you? That's love. That's just reaching out to somebody. And I think that's sometimes the most powerful thing that you can do. Jesus exemplified that with his life. He wasn't always trying to tell everyone to just get saved. He was saving them with love, and he was saving them with grace just by his essence of him being in the room. And I want to be that light when I walk into a room to illuminate the room, to make it brighter. To make people feel a little bit better about themselves and about life and about God. And so in one sentence, if you can love God and love your neighbor as you love yourself, you're doing ministry, and you're doing it the way that Jesus said, the greatest commandment. And for me, I try to live my life and pattern my life after that. And if you do that, then you're always in ministry.
Okay, and I think that scripture right there is a true example of how religion works with mental health.
Yeah.
With you saying you can't love someone else if you don't love yourself. And God says, as you love yourself. So as you work towards loving yourself the way that you're supposed to, having spiritual self-esteem, then and only then can you love someone else. And we talked about how a lot of times when a person feels inadequate in themselves, then that's expressed to the way they treat other people.
Exactly. Hurt people. And if you feel loved, you're going to generally love people. I used to hate myself. I didn't like where I was in life. I didn't like myself, particularly when I was in middle school. Sometimes in middle school, kids can be a little mean. They don't understand you. I've always been a little different. And so I got bullied. And it got me to the place where, like, man, if I'm treated like this, if I don't know how to convert that energy into something great, I'm gonna just put it onto someone else. I'm gonna put it on the next person. And so really I was doing what Jesus told me to do. I was loving my neighbor as I love myself, which was 0%. And I think a lot of people are doing that. They're actually following Jesus. Like, man, I hate myself, so
right.
How could I love you? But when you begin to be confident in yourself and you love yourself, not be cocky. Confidence and cockiness are 2 different things. Cockiness is really just insecurity amped up with a lot of noise.
Right.
Confidence is knowing who you are and being humble in that, but saying, I don't think I'm better than anyone, but I know that I'm here for a reason. And when you know that, then you can look at someone at a grocery store, you can look at someone at a bar, you can look at someone at church and love them and really mean it. Not passive-aggressive love, but really mean it because you love yourself. And I think the church for so long has said, love God, maybe love the people around you, but definitely don't love yourself. You're not worthy of love. You're not worth it. And I think so many of us have been taught that growing up in church. And it is one of my duties here on earth to instill within us as the church that you are worth that love and that God has created you in his image. So if God is love and he's created you in the image of love, then you are love.
You have to emulate love.
Exactly.
To walk in love. And, everything that you do has to be centered around that love. And you've mentioned that in your church you want to get away from the division. Well, a lot of young people feel there's a division in religion. And I know that you've received a lot of backlash because of some of the things you said on the television show. But for this upcoming generation, there is a lot of that. They're hearing one thing and they're seeing something else.
Right.
And so how do we provide a better example of, okay, this is the way that you should walk and it should be in love and you can be accepted. How do you go about doing that with the movement?
Well, I know for me, first of all, I definitely did get some backlash, but 10-1, it was positive versus negative. I got hundreds and hundreds of emails and Facebook inboxes of people just telling me like, man, either I'm gay, but I love God and I don't know what to do about that. And, I want to be like, I'm on fire for God. I want to help my community, but I've been ostracized. I've been totally outcasted from my church. I was able to reach those people, not just gay people, but anyone that feels disenfranchised. And so 10-1, I had people like that. But the one is always there. And when you're on television or in the public life, you're going to have people that come at you, say you're the Illuminati or that you're the Antichrist or, you're this or you're a heretic and all this stuff. And you have to learn how to let it feed you, let it fuel you, because otherwise it'll make you go insane. And I was literally like I was telling you earlier, I would like tweet back to people and be like, "Oh yeah, man, we'll take this, take that." And then my publicist was like, "Yo, Judah, we can't be doing that. Like, you know what I mean? Don't never punch down. Always punch up." So if somebody's coming at you for what you believe or for who you are, stand in that. And if they're too crazy, just block them. That's a great feeling is when you press that block button on Facebook. But I did get a lot of that backlash. But ultimately, it only helped the message get out there more. And I think the people that resonate with that message and the people that connect with it, those are really the people that are going to hear my voice and the people that I can make the biggest impact on. I wasn't doing Preachers of Atlanta for the church. The church is cool. I love the church. I'm in the church. I am a pastor. But I'm interested in the people that have been outside of the church, people that have been told that God hates them or that they feel that they hate God or they don't even know God. Those are the ones that I'm passionate about. Jesus talked about leaving the 99 for the one.
He did.
And now it's reversed. The 99 have already left church. There's one left sitting in a pew, one little angry person. I hate gay people or I hate this or I hate that. And meanwhile, there's 99 outside. And I'm passionate about those 99. And hopefully the one will come along as well. But if we can reach them, then we change the world. And that's what we're doing with the movement. So the movement is my church. We meet here in Atlanta currently on Monday nights. And it's just amazing. It's not just the name. It is the concept. It is the mission to be a movement of the reformation of the church. Like we want to reform the church. We want to rebrand it, rediscover it. I feel like church is still relevant to us today, but it has to be rediscovered. It has to be at a place where we can learn it again because so many people have a bad taste of church in their mouth. So when people come to the movement, they feel accepted. They feel loved. They feel affirmed. Mm-hmm. A lot of churches will accept you. I'll accept your 10% income, like come in and give me your tithe. I'll accept you all day. That's how they treat you. We're like, yo, if you come in and you connect and you see God and you feel his presence, that's all we care about. And we just want to connect with you and love you and help you be the best that you can be. I don't have all the answers. So this isn't a me church. This is a we church. Mm. And I'm very intent on putting that message out that I'm not here to say that I'm perfect or that I know this or I know that. I can tell you what I've studied, what I feel, what I believe. I can tell you an opinion, but I want you to search it out for yourself. And I think even Jesus was like that. He was always posing a question. And that's what we want to do with the movement is make people think, move them towards a solution, move them towards something, to be an action church, not just a talk church. There's a lot of talk churches out there. We'll talk all day. We'll curse darkness, but as John F. Kennedy and a lot of other people have said, it's better to light a candle than to sit and curse the darkness. And that's what we're doing with the movement is we're lighting a candle. It may not illuminate the whole world, but we can at least light up this community, and then we'll take it to the next and the next and the next until the light of Christ has been seen. And
I think that what's interesting in talking about spiritual self-esteem and loving yourself, a lot of people don't realize that. I give an example in sessions all the time that if you didn't mean anything to me, or if I didn't see your potential or your purpose, I'm not going to mess with you. Like there would be no reason to. So a lot of people don't realize the full potential, or they may feel like they're always in a war with the enemy. Yeah. Well, what is it that you possess inside of yourself as to why he deems you even a worthy adversary? Right. It's something that's in you that he feels, okay, I gotta stop this. Right. I gotta put this out right now. And I think oftentimes we are our greatest enemy. Yeah. I don't necessarily believe that there's like this horned thing flying around like trying to get us. And I think that we are our greatest hero, but also our worst enemy if we give some room for that. Mm-hmm. I always teach that everyone has a Clark Kent and a Superman inside of them. And we should live every day of getting rid of that Clark Kent. You appreciate Clark Kent because it's your humanity and everything, but the divine part of you, tap into that superhero part of you that can change the world. God's giving you the creative power to make your life amazing, and that's scary if you don't use it right. Okay. But it's also beautiful if you use it right. So I think so many times in church world, we're like, if something good happens to us, we like praise God. If something bad happens, we're like, that old devil. And I don't think it's either. I think that God has given you the power to decide your life. I think that he's the co-author of your life. Mm-hmm. But he's given us control, man. He's given us dominion over the earth. So you can make your life awesome or you can make it terrible. Okay, so let me ask you something and then dealing with that. Because, not so much in the horned, figure, but the adversary in a sense of there being demonic spirituality. Mm-hmm. Like the word speaks towards that. So if God, because I like posing this question, so if God says he knows who will be written in the book of life. So with that being said, what's your I guess, rebuttal for that with the standpoint of God being a God of free choice. But he already knows what you're going to choose. So if he already knows what you're going to choose...
Right. That's why that's never made sense to me, because like then God's just an insane person, because what he's doing is saying, oh, I know what y'all are going to do, so I'm going to go ahead and create you knowing that you're going to be in this eternal torment forever. Like, how sadistic could God be if you believe in a God like that? Like, yo, I'm going to create you. I already know the beginning and the end. I'm the Alpha and the Omega, and I know that you're not going to choose me, so I'm going to put you out. And I've heard someone say before that they truly believe that. I can't buy into that message. As far as the demonic thing, I've kind of outgrown that. You know, I've seen people like, you know, wiggling and having like a crazy, demonic manifestation, whatever you want to call it. But then you whisper in their ear. We've done this at church before. Whisper in their ear, like, "Yo, man, I'm gonna have to call the police if you don't get up, because this is getting kind of crazy." And all of a sudden they straighten up. Somehow the power of God hits them when you say that, and they say, "Yo, man, we're gonna have to call an ambulance." "Oh, no, I'm good." I think a lot of people are battling things within them, but some people just want attention. And I think other people, whether you call it a demonic manifestation or a spirit or energy, I think it's all semantics. So I look at it as energy. I think that you can have some negative energy. You can be dealing with depression or dealing with anxiety. And I don't think that's necessarily a demon, but it's something that could affect you in your life.
So what word do you dispute about that, you know, where you can say, okay, if you look right here in the word, you can see that this could be a mental health issue as opposed to a demonic possession?
Well, to my knowledge, every time Jesus casted out a demon, he was also healing someone. So I think that there were people that had epilepsy or had different things that were causing them to have seizures. And, you know, back then, like, we didn't have science, like, at the level that we have now. We didn't have knowledge of you know, physical things that were going on with us. So if someone's having a crazy seizure, you might be like, yo, that must be a demonic force. But when Jesus healed that person, I believe that was just a healing that took place. It wasn't like this demon didn't like come out of him. You know, I just
well, okay, but then all right, but then in the scripture where you have the boy whose father brings him and he's thrown down and he's beat up and bruised, okay, you can say, but those could have been seizures. But then when he cast them out and he said, "What's your name?" and there was a legion, their name was Legion, and then when you define legion, that is a plethora. Right. So then what is your...
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, but I don't really focus on whether or not demons are real or not. For me, it's not even a part of my ministry, and therefore, like, I've never battled with it. I think that we create things in our mind and we can make things real. And although scripture will say this or that, scripture says a lot of things that I just don't believe is literal. So that would be one thing that it's like, yeah, whatever they meant in the original text, I don't believe that this dude has demons. Like, I just don't believe it. I think that's fairy tales. I think that's like mythology almost. So for a lot of the newer generation coming up, younger cats, like, they're like, dude, they're not going to buy into that mentality. So, you know, for me as a I like to consider myself an intelligent human being. I can't accept that somebody has these demons inside of them. I just don't believe in it. Just like I don't really believe that, like, a house is haunted, you know? So I also don't believe in the tooth fairy.
Did you really just equate them on the same line? Okay, and so when did this awakening happen? I know you said that you weren't really, you know, raised in a house that taught fear. Right. Like love, the love of God. But like, you know, because sometimes you'll have people that go away to college, they're Baptists, but then they become Reformed and become non-denominational. Mm-hmm. So was there an aha moment in your life where you're like, no, I don't think I believe in that stuff? I
mean, I think every day is a growing process, and that you should be born again every day. When I say born again, letting an old mindset die and letting a new rise. I think that the message remains, but the method has to change, and also the message has to evolve as well. So if you believe something, that's great, but if you're not open-minded enough to grow, then I think you're dying in your belief. If you're not growing, you're dying. And so for me, I don't know that there was one aha moment, but every day I chase God and I dive deeper into the mystery of God. And then I realize that, man, the more you know about God, the more you realize you don't know anything. Yeah. You don't know jack. So it's anybody that'll tell you, I know this and I know that. It's like, that's clear ignorance. For me, it's like, no, I can tell you what, like I said, I can tell you what I've studied and what I feel. But I don't have all the answers. I can just tell you, about demons, whatever. I'd be like, I don't know about that. But I'm not going to say I know this or I know that, because, that could be completely right. So I think it's important to be open-minded. And if you truly have faith, you're not scared of being open-minded. You're not scared of questioning the system. I think for so long we've been conditioned to never question this. Just take what I say and run with it. I think that is a way of controlling people, and I think we need to say, hey guys, like present the word, which the word is Jesus. It's not written on tablets. Present the word, and then let people form a relationship with the word. And then they'll go to the next level in their life. You don't have to force it on them, and you don't have to control them. And I think that's what we're trying to do in our ministry, and that's what I do as an individual chasing God.
Okay. And, we have, I think, kind of beaten that topic. So now we will be just moving on to another topic. So the Black Lives Matter movement. Last week we had an episode. I brought a young man on who is on the opposite side of the movement. And opposite, not in the standpoint of what he believes or stands for, but just because he's black. He's a black guy. Right. So I just wanted to have another perspective on the show who represents the Black Lives Matter movement, but isn't black. So...
Yeah, so I've recently been invited to a series of meetings that is still continuous right now with Dr. Bernice King and also some of the Black Lives Matter leadership. We have some well-known artists that are in the meetings and a few people from the Nation of Islam. And so we're all coming together. I'm the only white guy in the room, the token white. I'm comfortable with being the token. Although I always tell people, like, you think I'm white till you take a bite. I'm like white chocolate. So, but for me, it's an honor to be in that room and be talking about stuff like that. I heard I think it was Ricky Smiley said the other day that responding to Black Lives Matter with All Lives Matter is like running up to a house that's on fire and telling the fire department, yo, my house matters too and all houses matter. They're going to tell you like, yeah, bro, like your house matters, all houses do matter, but this house is on fire. Yeah. And so my intent of working with these leaders is to help put out that fire and to help white people, not just white people, but other races understand that, we're not saying that your life doesn't matter. And I don't even claim everything that has happened with that movement. But the bottom line is what they're trying to say is that Black lives also matter, but the system doesn't treat them as such. And everyone's life matters, but the system doesn't treat them as such. And that is the point. So I don't know, like some white people will get so offended, like, yo, I don't understand, man. Like all lives matter. It's like, bro, no one's saying your life doesn't matter. What we're saying is the system is treating certain lives as if they don't matter. And we need to do something about that. And it's an honor to be a part of a movement that is helping change that in whatever way we can, because you're going to need more than just black people. You're going to need white people to help the movement, just like gay people need straight people to help their movement and whatever. Like you need someone that's outside of your box to help bridge the gap. Now, does that mean I understand everything that's going on? No. I can sympathize to it or with it to a certain extent, and there's enough in me that, I've grown up in a multicultural environment. There's enough in me to where I can be like, yo, like this is wrong, and like we got to do something about it. But as I was saying earlier, like I'm not going to pretend that I understand every aspect of it, because that's offensive. It seems, at least to me, that would be offensive to that culture, because I'm coming in saying, like, oh, I understand, guys. I understand everything, how it's going. Like, no, I don't. But I can sympathize to the point where, we got to make a change. And that's what I'm here to do. Again, I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers. I think together, though, when we build that bridge, when we come together to put out that fire, we can make a difference. And it's going to take us getting over our own prejudices, our own personalities, and working together. And that's what I'm here to do.
That's good. And I will agree with that. We do need people who are reflective of said machine, to create a change in that, because, it's kind of like you can provide an outside perspective, and then to help others who, look like you say, wow, okay, if this is an important issue to him, that where along the lines is not affecting you, but you can still, identify that, it may not affect me, personally, but this is something that needs to be changed.
Right.
Then and only then, in my opinion, can a change actually occur. So let me ask you, you're a part of helping create the change. What do marches do? Like, what's the benefit of having a march?
Yeah, I think marches are they have their place. They're important to let your voice be heard. You can gain attention through it. But as my friend Killer Mike has said before, it's not enough to just march down the street. You need to march to a bank, or you need to march to a business and do something with that energy. Do something with your passion. Because if we just get out and make a lot of noise, that doesn't really change anything. I think it helps push the narrative, but you've got to begin investing in Black businesses. We've got to strengthen that economy, and also teach young kids like how to develop credit, how to develop, like their own business sense. And I think that is going to put them in a position to where they can succeed at least better than where it's at right now. It's like general life skills. I think that those things are what we need to take our passion. Let's keep marching. Let's keep getting out there and making some noise. I don't agree with the violent stuff.
Yeah.
And the true leaders of Black Lives Matter, I don't think agree with it either. Even in the meetings that I've been in, everybody's like, we are about peace, it's nonviolent, which is exactly what Dr. King stood for. And I think that's what's going to ultimately make the difference. Even though I can understand why somebody would want to get violent sometimes, because the violence is the cry of the unheard. So sometimes you're like, yo, if you're not going to hear me, I'm going to make you hear me.
Right, you're going to have to listen.
So I can understand that, but what that does is it cuts off everybody that should be involved with it, and it kind of creates the cycle even more. So for me, it's as long as we stay nonviolent, peaceful, I'm totally cool with the protest. That's part of your right. But don't just protest. Like, get out there and be intent about where you're putting your money. Be intent about what you're doing with your time, and I think we can ultimately make a difference. But it's not just with marching. Like, actually let's take it somewhere,
Yeah.
And that's my view on that.
I think that's important, and you will help by being a part of that. And I want to thank you for that too, because you could have chosen to say, that's really messed up, I hate it, I'm going to pray.
Right.
I'll pray from over here for you.
Oh guys. Yeah, that's the least you can do for people. Is people are like, oh, I'll pray for y'all, and I say it too, but praying for y'all, that means I'm not going to do anything for you. I heard Hannibal Buress say one time, he's one of my favorite comedians, he was like, don't pray for me, make me a sandwich. You know what I mean? He's like, if I'm in a hospital and like I can't make my own sandwich, like, make me a sandwich. And I think there's some profound truth in that. It's like, prayer is important and it does work, it is real. But if you're not doing something, faith without works is dead. So we can sit all day, in the name of Jesus, you're healed. But if you're not going to get up and do something for your body, or eat correctly, or do something to progress your life, then it's not going to get better. So the same goes for saying, I'll pray for y'all. I hate how those cops are just killing y'all on the streets. I'll pray for y'all. Like, nah. And it's not all cops. There's a lot of officers that are amazing people. But there is a systemic problem that has to change. And so it's not enough to just say, praying for y'all. I'll see y'all on Twitter. Pray for that doesn't do anything. If you're not willing to get out there and make a difference, then I think you're wasting your time. And so I want to be a part of that difference, and I try to be with my life.
And do you also, stand up for gay rights?
Yeah, 100%. I think that, the crazy thing that I always tell people is, like, gay people are people. So they're a part of humanity. So I think some people kind of miss that sometimes. They're humans, and human rights is something that's important to me. So whether it's black and white or gay and straight, I want to bridge gaps between people. And I think as a white straight dude, I have a voice for that, because I have really nothing to benefit other than, I have no ulterior motive. You know what I mean? So what is there for me to benefit other than to help bridge that gap and see the love of God manifest in someone's life? And even if someone doesn't understand someone being gay, or for whatever reason in their religious mind they don't agree with it, those people are deserving of their rights, and that's where I'm at. So it's like, I think that God loves them exactly for who they are. But even if you disagree with who they are or who they love, at least give them some rights. That's because what happens is, I think the oppressed sometimes oppress others. The hurt people will hurt others. And you have to realize that, there was a time, and I know you realize this, but there was a time when black people couldn't be in the same movie theater as white people, or they couldn't drink from the same water fountains. And so if anybody should be sympathetic to the gay community, I believe it should be the black community, because it's like, we were disenfranchised and are still being disenfranchised in a lot of ways. So don't even if you don't agree with everything or you don't completely understand it, at least be able to reach out and say, it's not cool how y'all have been treated. You need to have equal rights. And so I'm not a gay rights activist. I'm not even a black rights activist in the way that normal people would see it. I'm a human rights activist. I'm here for humans. And if you're a human, you're being treated unjustly, I'm going to speak up for you. If you're a human that's been bullied by the church or by the system, I'm going to speak up for you, no matter what you look like, no matter where you're from. And that's where my heart is. So I'm not here to like prove one point about one, people group or this group or that. I'm here for all people. And if someone's been disenfranchised, I'm going to make it heard.
I can respect that. I think that a lot of times where the lines get blurred is that when people try to say, okay, gay rights is just as important as, black lives, if they are straight, because I can't say that I'm along the lines of, okay, I can back that the same way because, we have this tool, this institution that says, okay, if you're gay, you're going to hell.
Right.
And this is, a lot of the times with the churches. And I feel that the way of instructing that, I find discrepancy with that because I'm about love. Love, 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 love. And I think that's why I can vibe so well with the movement and, what you're saying, even though we do have some things we disagree on.
Yeah.
It's, because you're preaching love. And I feel that a lot of times that, to me, that's the important aspect of it. So, I'm not going to say that that the rights or gay rights or, that's along the same line as my people being disenfranchised and enslaved for so many years. But I am going to tell you that I love you, that you're my brother, you're my sister, that I love you. And that if God is asking me to be a representation of him while I'm here, you are going to experience nothing but love from me on that level, from that regard.
Right.
And, and I think that's the important thing about it. That's the aspect of it. That's the truth moment, so to speak, is that, a lot of the issues that we're having is that people are taking religion and taking God's name and saying that I am condemning you and I'm doing it for him.
Right.
And that's why so many people are saying, well, I don't want to serve a God like that. So we're doing more harm than good as far as, calling ourselves Christians because it's saying that, I'm an ambassador of Christ, but you're wrong and I don't believe what you believe. So you can't be one of us. You can't be like us. And this is what the movement is working against. You said you guys had a cookout. A pool party. Yeah. And that's church to you.
Yeah, to me, church is wherever you're at. It's if two or more are gathered in his name, and I believe that his name is love, God is love, then he is in the midst of you. And I believe that you're having church. And I think that we need to rediscover it because we're waiting on people to come into our temples or, under our steeples. We don't realize that some of those people are never going to make it there. Like they're in the street. We got to meet them where they're at. And that's why I say I'm for all people. And I do agree with you, even though the whole gay rights thing, I'm not totally equating it with black rights because, like gay people have been able to drink from water fountains, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that like it's the exact same thing.
Especially the white gay ones.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's the exact same thing because I don't want to be portrayed as that way, but I do believe that it is human rights and it is important to note that because them being gay is, to them, at least this is what they've told me, them being gay is just as natural as you being black or me being white. So to be treated any differently for who you are or for who you love, I think that's wrong. And so we need to help bridge that gap. Yeah. But it does have it definitely has its differences. So, but yeah, I think as you said about the cookout and the pool, getting together and loving people, man, it sounds simple. It sounds like we're being like hippies and stuff, but that's not what it is, though. Like,
you're not gonna hug.
It's just it's just like, yo, we can come together. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't have to see eye to eye on everything, and we can still feed someone together. We can still visit that lonely person in the hospital together. We can still visit someone in prison together because Jesus said, "What divides you from being the sheep and the goats is did you help somebody? Did you feed the hungry, clothe the naked, visit those that are sick, visit those that are in prison?" And if there is a place called hell, that's what will send you there is if you don't do those things. So I think so many of us, like I said earlier, we're cursing darkness, but we're not lighting candles. We're saying, yo, I don't know about these gays, or I don't know about this, or I don't know about that. But meanwhile, we're not feeding anybody. We're not helping someone. And that's why I'm having shirts printed up that says, shut up and help somebody. Because I feel like it's important. It's like, yo.
You have to make sure I get one.
Yeah, it's like, yo, like, our opinions really don't matter. It makes an interesting conversation to talk about. But at the end of the day, someone's outside right now that needs something to eat. And I think if Jesus was here, that's what he would be doing. He'd be feeding that person. He wouldn't be arguing about this or that.
Very well said. Very well said. So, along with everything else, you do music, and the music that you do is different. I've heard you rap.
Yeah.
I've heard you grab an acoustic and rock out on stage.
Yeah.
And I've heard you sing. So, what is your music, pretty much defined just as your life? It's just, you just want to promote love. But I've heard you rap too, though.
Yeah.
So, how do you define your music?
Well, to me, I look at music as it's almost like eating. You're providing something for someone to eat. So sometimes you want to eat something different. I want to eat some Chinese this day, or one day I want to get some barbecue, or then the next day I might want to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I create music that I want to eat, that I want to consume. Mm-hmm. And I love hip hop. I love folk music. I love acoustic stuff. Sometimes I'll even go lead worship and do different things like that. For me, I don't like to box in music. That's where labels come in, and labels can hold you back from what you're supposed to do. I look at my music almost like to relate it to another artist, almost like an Elvis. If you look at Elvis, like what style did he do? What genre did he do? Well, he was a gospel artist, but he was a rock and roll. He was the king of rock and roll. He was a country artist. He was a blues artist. And I think it's cool that you can come into the music industry and present different styles. And I think now the music industry is a lot more open to that too. People are able to branch out. That's one great thing about hip hop is you can blend it with a lot of different styles and it sounds good. So I couldn't just pick one style. I do love rapping. I do love singing. I love playing. So I was like, let's just do them all together.
So a Judah project could have like 1 through 10 with all different types of music.
Oh, 100%. And, I've thought about in the past, like maybe releasing EPs of like, all right, here's an unplugged EP and it's all acoustic and here's a hip hop. But I think that you can, and I've seen it in my own life, you can build a fan base and people that are interested in the music, even if it's multi-style. Because if you look at the average person's iTunes, they're going to listen to all different types of stuff. People don't just listen to one genre generally. So if you listen to my iTunes, you'll hear some crazy hip hop, and then you'll hear some Hillsong, and then it'll go into some old school blues. So I think that the way that I like to eat music or consume music is the way that I like to put it out, and I want people to be able to eat whatever they like. If they like hip hop, come to me. If you like acoustic, come to me. I got it. I got you, baby. That's what I'm saying.
I got it all. Okay, this has been a very, very awesome experience for me, having tea time with Judah on Truth Moment, just discussing an array of topics. And what I want to do is allow you to share your truth. So like in 20 seconds, what is Judah's truth? Like, what's your truth as far as like who you are, what you're about, what you want to do? Like in 20 seconds, I want you to address, the camera and just let them know like what your truth is as far as helping people. Like I said, out of the shadows, you have family who is ministry. Everyone looking forward to one day having 6th generation ministry. But you still had to find your truth.
Right.
You had to go from being bullied to realizing you were bullying someone because that's what was being recycled.
Right.
I can't give you what I don't have. If this is what I have, this is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So going through all that you've been through, the backlash you and family have received, with your dad coming out, like, what is your truth?
My truth is to be someone that presents the love of God in a tangible way that people can understand. I do that with my music. I do that with my ministry. I do that as an entrepreneur with my businesses. And for me, if we can make people or help people love God, love their neighbor as they love themselves. I know it sounds simple, but it really is my truth. To love your neighbor means I don't want to kill you. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to steal from you because I love you. I love you as I love myself. And if I love myself, then I believe in myself. I don't want to hurt myself. I want to be here and make a difference. And I think that everyone in this world has something to say with their life. Their story matters. And that their life is just another book in what I believe is the Bible. I believe the Bible is still being written. I believe that the Old Testament was important. The New Testament was even more important. But the Now Testament is what we're living in. And the book of Tierra is going to be important. The book of Judah is going to be important. The book of Doug out there is going to be important. The book of Sam, the book of Cindy. Whoever you are, your story is just as important as Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Your story is just as important as what Paul had to say, and those people were amazing. But if we can inspire someone to write something with their life, then my life will not be in vain. So I'm here to author a book with my life that will change history, and I want to encourage others to do the same.
Awesome. That was very well said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As you all know, I'm your host, Tierra Pritchett. This is Judah Swilley. Pastor Judah, but he doesn't like to go by that. But that's our truth. What's yours? If you just finished watching the episode with Judah and myself, Tea Time with Tierra and Judah, you may have noticed some things that we kept hitting on, and they all kind of evolve around self-esteem. So how do you view yourself? How do you see yourself? You see, because then and only then, once I realize how I'm treating myself, how I view myself, will I be able to walk differently and walk in love towards other people. You know, we speak of spiritual self-esteem. It's like we know what the word says and how we're supposed to treat other people, but it first starts at home with ourselves. So I can't love you if I don't know love. I can't walk in grace with you if I feel that I've never experienced grace. And the way to start working on those things, you may say, okay, Tierra, I can admit that to myself, never to anyone else out loud. Because oftentimes it's hard to say the things you don't like about yourself. So it's easy for you to put down and observe other people's issues because internally you don't want to discuss yours. So how can you change those things about yourself, you may ask? Start with affirmations. It may sound silly, but look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you're a great person. Tell yourself you're beautiful. Tell yourself you're intelligent and you have awesome things to add to anyone. And it'll be hard at first to make eye contact with yourself while you're doing it. So start when you're brushing your teeth. Look at your hand. Focus on your hand or focus on the toothpaste or the toothbrush holder. And do these things over and over to the point where you can actually make eye contact with yourself in saying it. Because if I say something long enough, then I'll start to believe it. So if I say I'm stupid and I'm never going to be successful, you know what? After a while, I won't be able to be successful. Because I will have adopted that as my truth. So you say you're successful. You say you're an awesome person worthy of love. If no one in your life has ever shown you love, start today and show it to yourself. Because then and only then can you, much like Judah said, we may sound like some tree-hugging hippies after this episode, but it's important to love. Very small word, 4 letters, but it has a huge impact. I'm Tierra Pritchett. That's my truth. What's yours?